Hello everyone and welcome back to Dragalia Foundry, a fan channel where everything Dragalia Lost can be found. Happy 4th anniversary of Dragalia Lost, everyone! We've made it to the 4-year mark. If you're still playing Dragalia Lost, there's some exciting surprises in store, something that genuinely caught me off guard, and some pretty cool summoning opportunities with the 4th anniversary arriving. We also have a login bonus, and we have an upcoming event that's one of my favorites in the game, if not my favorite, so hopefully you'll enjoy that one, especially if you haven't checked it out so far. We're going to talk about all of that in this video. Of course, I wanted to make a video today. With it being the 4th anniversary of the game, there's still a lot of videos that I want to make, but it's always one thing or another, it seems. Life has been really busy, so I'm hoping to get at least a few of those out between October and then the end of November, the last day of service for Dragalia Lost. Here's the 4th anniversary bonus. Let's take a look at that first. At this point, we sort of have an excess of materials, if you've been playing for a while, to kind of do whatever you want in the game. And actually, I think it's a pretty cool time to jump in if you've never played Dragalia Lost. This is probably your last best, really good jumping on point if you want to enjoy it for the next month or two. And yeah, I guess there's not a whole lot of time left to play it, but you will be able to build a lot of characters, you will be able to play the story content, you'll be able to play some of the really fun event reruns that are happening. And you can see here, now we're just getting excessive amounts of all this stuff. We have 4 Damascus ingots, we have 4 adamantine ingots, we have 4 Champion's Testaments, 4 Sunlight Stones, an Omnisite, a lot of rupees, Wormite, so pretty nice 4th anniversary bonus. Obviously a little sad because we don't get a new event this year like we have in past years, but at the same time, Dragalia Lost is coming to its end, so that's the way it's going to go this time around. Let's read through some of the news posts here just to talk about what's coming up or already happening right now with the anniversary. So first of all, starting on September 30th, you're going to be able to play the Dawn of Dragalia raid event. In my opinion, this is one of the best raid events in the game. I really feel like Humanoid Midgard Swarmer is just a fantastic adventure, and I think it was fun to have an event set during Alberius' time. I'm glad that we got something set both during Alberius' and Ilia's time in the game's lifespan. And Humanoid Midgard Swarmer, if you're struggling with any endgame content where you have to use wind adventures, he is really powerful, so glad to see him circulated one more time, especially because this was never added to the event compendium. But moving on from that, the 4th anniversary bonus, we already took a look at this earlier, but here you have it. You'll be eligible to collect this for quite some time, through the end of October it looks like, so even if you're not logging in for the first 10 days from today onward, and you're coming to the game a little bit later, it's cool that this 4th anniversary bonus, you won't miss out on it. And then this is the thing that really surprised me, bonus diamantium. That was our paid currency. While back, the paid currency stopped, or you were no longer able to purchase it, is what I'm trying to say. I think it was about a month ago at this point, but this is a way of giving all players access to it for free, and that's important because it's the only currency you can use to do Dream Summon specials. And in those Dream Summon specials, you get to pick an adventure or dragon of your choice and add them to your collection. So this is essentially like giving everybody a free opportunity to do that, which, again, I just feel like is the right thing to do with a send-off for Dragalia Lost. I'm really glad that this is here. I had actually saved 1200 diamantium, planning to use it for this occasion because I thought Dream Summon was coming. But I guess I'm going to have a little bit extra, 1200 extra diamantium that I'll have to figure out what I want to do with later on. But it says everybody's eligible who started playing before 9/27. Oh, well, so I guess this is unfortunately not going to be available to you if you're a brand new player after the anniversary date. That's what it sounds like reading this. But the good news is that if you are a brand new player, the reroll system in Dragalia Lost is very generous with permanent characters. So you will be able to repeatedly reroll if there is a specific character you're targeting and make sure you get them. Of course, that might take a while. There's not any kind of focus on the rerolling, but you can do it an infinite number of times. So essentially any character that you want to give a test drive or try out, you are able to do on a fresh account, but it will take some time to build them up. So moving on from that, here we have the news of the Dream Summon Special. It'll be available in the shop as of 9/29 at 1 or a little bit different depending on your time zone. So for me, it's 1 a.m. You can purchase the Dream Summon Special for 1200 Diamantium to get one 10-fold summon voucher and one adventure or dragon of your choosing, and it's going to be available through October 4th. So you're going to want to make sure you log in to take advantage of this. We'll go back just in case there's any anniversary news that we've missed here. We do have a Sigil Spotlight live right now through the 29th. So on the 30th, we're going to get a Gala Dragalia, but it looks like details of that have not been shared here yet. But that is forthcoming. And right now, the event that's running is the first ever New Year's event. It's a rerun. You can get Botan and Shishimai and add them to your collection. It's a pretty fun event. I really like this one, so I've been playing the dailies for it, but not a whole lot outside of that. Just been kind of doing my dailies. Have Summer Prince since he's a shadow element. And speaking of dailies, you can see I haven't collected my my login stuff, my resources. We'll go ahead and collect our gifts here with the Wormite and the Diamantium. Of course, my goodie box is kind of full because there's a lot of stuff that I'm capped out on and can no longer collect. So that's why you see that no limit text there. I'll go over to the Sigil Spotlight. That's what's running right now, along with these Elemental Platinum Showcases, but even though you could spend Diamantium on these, you definitely want to save it for that Dream Summon, because then you're actually going to get to choose a character who you want to add to your collection. And yeah, it looks like that Dream Summon isn't available until, I guess, the 29th, depending on your time zone. So we're going to wait on that. I'll come back with another video on that. But I thought it might also be kind of cool to show you just some stats, I guess, about where my account is as kind of a check-in, with this being the 4th anniversary, of how things are going, what's going on with my characters, my Knots, Notes, Encyclopedia, the roster, etc. So I wanted to show that briefly just on the upgrade screen here. I'm sure many of you out there are in the same situation if you've been playing regularly. But as you can see, my mana is completely capped out. My rupees, I still have quite a bit of ways to go before capping those out. And then I have a decent chunk of Eld Water. And that Eld Water is essentially all excess, because I think all these all these worm prints that are here are max unbound. So I've spent at least that much Eld Water on them. I have not gone for max copies on everything. I don't think I have enough for that. Well, maybe I do. Maybe I do. These are not that expensive. Was that just that one? How expensive are these? Okay, yeah, this one's way more expensive. Well, I don't know. That might be something I'd try, but so far I've been just saving my Eld Water in case I do summon some new adventurers. But the worm print collection, it's about as finished as I wanted. I'm not necessarily going to get max copies on everything. As far as my dragons go, well, I've been able to max a lot of them with their dragon augment. So I think every 5-star outside of some of the raid 5-stars are in here. I don't have Tie Shan Gongju. She's the one dragon I'm missing. So I don't have her with max augments, of course, either. I do have some kind of miscellaneous dragons here at the bottom, some of which I summoned in my last summoning session, some of which I've gotten from events and whatnot. And then my 4-stars and some of my event 5-stars are extra copies of the high dragons. Haven't gotten enough dragon augments to finish those up yet. And you can see I do have quite a few other just dragons here, including some Gala ones and a lot of Sunlight Stones. So when I think back to all the Sunlight Stone packs I may have purchased, well, if this is any indicator, I mean, maybe you catch up eventually, and really those were just an accelerant for folks to get ahead a little bit faster. Certainly the game has become more generous, though, with the end of service, I feel like, as far as these types of progress rewards. Maybe not with summoning currency, but with stuff like Sunlight Stones. Ever since Kaleidoscape happened, those have been a lot more available. So when it comes to weapons, all the weapons are pretty much done. You know, I have all the Void skins and everything. I haven't gone max copies, since I just don't really feel like I need to. But all of the core weapons are done, the void weapons. I guess the core abilities are here on the elemental Manacasters. So that's all done. The one thing that isn't done here are the Primal Dragon weapons. And specifically, I have not finished my Brunhilde series weapons. I finished all the other series, including the weapon bonuses. But on the Brunhilde series, my auto for the expert difficulty is not that reliable. I've been using Housekeeper Pia, Auriga, Gala Mascula, and I think Sandolphin. But my auto has not been that reliable, so I have not put in the time to grind all of these materials that I need to craft all of these weapons. On standard, I'm okay, and I've done a fair amount of master. I'll probably need some additional master mats eventually, but I've done that mostly manually. So those are the one series that aren't quite done yet. It looks like I have the sword, but not the blade. Dagger's about halfway there. Not the axe, not the lance. I do have the bow, not the wand, not the staff, and I do have the Manicaster. So the reason I kind of put this off is because we had already seen all of the wind endgame content by the time Brunhilde's trial came out, because we already had Primal Midgard Stormer's trial before that, and then I think we already had the two battles, Yaldabaoth and Asura, I believe, where you get to use Flame Adventurers in the Legend Sinister Dominion. So it didn't seem like as high a priority to power up my Flame characters necessarily. So, and it's for me the hardest trial to auto, so yeah, those are a little bit lagging behind. Then the one other thing that's very sad here is that I don't have the lucky Hanatsuki paddle. And that was a paid-only item. It's a weapon skin. I guess it's a weapon skin. Maybe it's considered a proper weapon. I think nowadays it's considered a weapon skin after the version, what was it, 2.0 update? But anyway, I don't have that weapon skin. I think all the other weapon skins I should have. We can't check with this Yuden because he uses daggers. So let's put in the other Yuden here. But yeah, I think it might be a weapon skin now, but essentially it's just something that is purely cosmetic and was paid only and was only available once on the first New Year's of the game. And at that time I was a free-to-play player, so I didn't go for it. Kind of wish I had in retrospect, just because it's a pretty unique and novel collectible. And it's not like it's something that would have necessarily given a huge power advantage or anything like that. Like, it was a fairly weak weapon even at the time. So that's weapons, Wormprints, dragons, mana circles, at least as far as who I have on my roster. Well, I've had enough mana for sure to max out everybody, and definitely had enough Champions Testaments and Knights Testaments and all that. But here, as far as the adventure upgrades, these are not totally done because I am still a little slow getting augments. So we'll click in on Joachim, and you can see, yes, I have enough crystals to augment Joachim, but not enough to fully augment anybody else after this. So yeah, there's still quite a few characters here. I guess, what is it, 10, 20, 21 characters who have not been able to max augment. It's probably something I could farm if I really wanted to before the game ends its service. Of course, everybody's promoted fully, but I just haven't farmed for augments really. I've just played the endgame content to get the weapons, and whatever augments I've had along the way, I've used those. But none of these characters are really ones I use in my comps. At least, yeah, I don't think so. Not lately anyway, so none of them have augments yet. So I think the last thing is, well, maybe two things. We'll go ahead and go into the castle grounds real quick. I talked about this in a previous video, but I do only have 4 smithworms. It's strange. I mean, obviously I don't need this now. I think that my facilities are all max level, at least they should be. But there is part of me that's thinking, you know, if I have any resources left at the end of service, maybe I'll just put them into this to get that final smithworm, so my 4 smithworms are just a little bit less lonely and have a 5th smithworm as a companion. I think all of these should be maxed out. But it's really been a while since I've actively pursued, organizing my Halidom or anything like that. So it's definitely possible I could have left off a level somewhere here, but I don't think so. Okay, so now let's finally get into Knott's notes in the encyclopedia. And there are going to be some things here that may shock and surprise you, because they certainly surprised me. So this is one of them. For some reason, well, I know part of the reason, but for some reason, my water element is just way lower than all my other elements. The other things I can explain are why shadow and flame are higher. And that's because I tend to always try and include one of the princes, one of the copies of Yuden on my team that has a player EXP bonus. So either the summer Yuden or the regular Yuden, shadow and flame respectively. So that's why those are maxed out, because I always use them on my daily stuff. Wind is almost there. Light is a little bit behind, but water is like way behind. And I guess, you know what, come to think of it, maybe this has to do with the fact that I haven't fully grinded out all of the weapons from Brunhilde's trial yet. Still have a lot of mims to battle. So that's probably part of it. I bet we could get this up a little higher, but I don't think I'm going to have to do that fight like 500 times, so it's still odd that this is so low. I wonder if I used like ingots to skip other content that used water adventures as well. I'm not sure. But anyway, this is also potentially surprising and distressing. When you look at the weapon types, bow, not maxed out. Eleonora, not representing very well here, as almost all my weapons are maxed out. Axe is super close, but bow and then Manicaster. And Manicaster I think kind of makes sense. Although there are so many meta Manicasters, you would think this would be higher for me. But I am actively trying to raise all of these to 9999 before the end of service, and we'll see if I'm able to get there. Same thing with the elements. And then when it comes to unit types, that one's all taken care of. So of course then you have the stories, and here, I mean, there's not really a whole lot to show, but this is a fun place to check out. If you missed it, the Nintendo mobile YouTube channel posted kind of the end credits and the farewell sequence from the Dragalia Lost main campaign. So if you have not played through the whole campaign, remember that you can view chapters and scenes here. I guess I won't click on memories just because it could spoil some stuff, but that video is another way of kind of accessing that ending for the game, which I thought was cool that they released today. And then finally the encyclopedia proper here in Knott's notes, and this will show us what we're really missing. I'll show the encyclopedia bonuses very briefly, but this is not something I've kept a close tally of, what the max possible is here. I know I only have 2 light dragons I'm missing. I have all the other dragons, so I think light should be the only dragon one that's off. But otherwise, you can actually, I think, you can filter by those you have in your collection, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not. Maybe that's only on the Dream Summon screen. But we can go through them really quickly. Some of you who've seen my more recent summoning videos probably know this already, but Undercover Grace. I'm missing Humanoid Mercury. I'm missing Cecile, Humanoid Jupiter, Farron, Summer Chell, and Irene. And that is it there. For dragons, it is Gala Elysium and Tie that I'm missing. So not a whole lot that's missing on the dragons. But the medal collection is like nowhere close to being complete. I've never even beaten the High Dragon Trials on the standard class according to the medal collection. Apparently I've never done that. I guess this is another big one. I've only done through floor 60 of the Kaleidoscape once, so I still need to complete it 29 more times in order to get all of the Kaleidoscape end stories. So I thought I was going to spend a lot more time in Kaleidoscape than I actually did. Honestly, if I could have started from floor 50 with characters who I had already gotten there with, maybe you can do that and I just haven't realized it yet. I think only having to go through 10 extra floors for those would have been really nice and kind of encouraged me to do that. But yeah, that's something I've also been kind of putting off, but I really need to do now because I want to see those memories that are only available through that mode, and I think you need to clear with a total of 30 adventures through floor 60 to see all of them. So that's why I have over 30 for floor 50, because I think that previously used to be, well, that previously was the cap, and I think 30 was the amount you needed. But yeah, some of the stuff, I kind of want to just maybe leave this one blank, because I do think that's kind of funny. But the medals are something I really wish would have been implemented retroactively, just because there are certain clears that I've done in the past that I don't really have any reason to play the content anymore, so I'd have loved if the game would have remembered the things that I had done. And the devs have showcased an ability to do that before with things like remembering our summons and giving refunds that are very specific, or giving refunds in honey and ashes for time that you're away from the game and stuff like that. So I think that would have been very cool. I started to go through and get these medals. I thought it was something I wanted to do, so that's why the early battle medals like the Void Dragons and the Chimera and the regular Dragon Trials, the reason they all are as high as they are is because at one point I was like, I'm going to just go through systematically and get all the medals, but I burned out on that pretty quickly. It was just a lot. And especially as you get later on, you can't as quickly clear stuff. I mean, some people were really dedicated to this, and they would build whole comps around carrying one adventure and ferrying through one adventure at a time for, you know, some of the harder content. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. This is what I meant to click on. The Legend difficulty. Archdemons, or, you know, the Master difficulty, Primal Dragons, are both pretty hard. So yeah, that's one thing I feel like I'm not going to end up completing, but I will be focusing on this because I do want to see those story segments that I haven't seen yet, or those lore segments. But I think that is about it for today, everybody. So I hope you've enjoyed just this quick look at what's going on in my account as of the 4th anniversary of Dragalia Lost. Hopefully some of the information at the beginning of the video was informative. If you've been away from the game for a while, want to make sure that you log in and get your Diamantium, and we'll be able to use that for your Dream Summon here in the next week or so. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've been doing really well. I appreciate all of your comments on the last video. I'm still going through and reading those. It was hard for me to read those at first just because it was pretty emotional. And I feel very grateful for all the kind words. So I want to say that I hope to be around pretty regularly. I mean, there's a lot in the game I still want to play. I just have to make the time to do it sometime between now and November, because that is going to be it for Dragalia Lost. But anyway, y'all, that is going to do it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.